Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you for having this time with me today, this afternoon. Thank you for your time. Today, we are going to actually talk about proper nutrition with regards to supporting your health. So without further ado, I would actually first introduce myself and then we will dive right into the whole program itself. So my name is Clement. I'm a registered dietitian. I graduated from South Korea and practiced for a while before actually coming back to Singapore, hopefully able to actually be able to, share all my experiences as well as the knowledge in an Asian perspective. So, all right, so this is actually the presentation overview for today. So to give you an outline in your head itself so that you know what is actually coming up. So firstly, we are going to talk about fatigue. Fatigue is something I'm very sure that you are very familiar with, especially in this environment that we have and we struggle a lot in Singapore. And on top of that, we are going to actually focus on balanced meals. You know, what is balanced meals? You hear about a lot of things out there. And also this thing here, which might scare some of you, osteoporosis. You might think that, hey, actually, I'm still young. Do I need to actually really care about osteoporosis? And what exactly is osteoporosis? And then we are going to dive into nutrition with regards to the vitamins as well as the minerals, specifically on calcium as well as vitamin D. I'm sure many of you are familiar with calcium, but probably not as much for vitamin D. And I will let you know why it is important to do so. And then we will dive into a bit of exercise, how exercise comes as a partner for nutrition. And of course, we will end up with a Q&A. Hopefully, through this Q&A, you can actually, if you have some burning questions that you have, you can actually share it. And hopefully, we can actually answer it today. All right, so fatigue. What is fatigue? So fatigue, right? I'm sure a lot of you will say, oh, I'm tired every day, tired at work, tired at home, tired looking after my children, tired doing this, doing that, going to school. So fatigue. So with regards to that, the definition actually is weariness or exhaustion from labor, exertion or stress. So it is actually, I would actually like to highlight that it is actually a symptom, but not a disease. It is not a disease, it is actually a symptom. So chronic fatigue would actually be a side effect to an underlying health condition. You are tired, probably it's not because, it's just long hours, lack of sleep and all, but probably, there might be an underlying health condition that you might not know. So, but the thing about this is that the list is not exhaustive. There are a lot of issues or conditions that might actually lead to fatigue, or rather fatigue that might even cause these different diseases out there. For example, depression, anxiety, especially during this pandemic period, whereby a lot of people will be very, tired and anxious about a lot of things, as well as other concerns as well, like cancer, heart diseases, anemia, kidney disease, etc. So what you should do, right, to actually find out if you have continuously feeling this fatigue throughout a very long time, you should actually seek for medical advice. Do not self-diagnose, seek medical advice. And today, right, we will actually focus on the nutritional factors that actually contribute to fatigue. So you might think, oh Clement, what can I eat, or what can I do to actually help myself? So number one, this is actually the most crucial part, because this is something that I'm sure a lot of us, we actually struggle to be able to do so. So number one, poor food choices. There's insufficient whole grains. A lot of people might think, rice is bad for me, pasta is bad for me, everything related to carbs is bad for me. But the thing is that, insufficient whole grains, even meats and dairy as well, also too few fruits and vegetables, they are all important to actually provide us with that energy. All of these foods, including whole grains, you might think that, I actually can get energy from other sources. like maybe meat or even fats. But then you might want to think that, oh, like there's a thing that I need to do now. There's an objective in front of me now that I need to use my physical body to actually make sure that it is done. So from there, right, we will actually tap on, number one, carbohydrates to give that burst of energy in order to fulfill the things that we need. That's why carbohydrates are actually very important, and we get them from whole grains. But I will actually touch on them once we go into the different slides. And also, a lot of people, including myself, I love coffee. I love my coffee. But the thing about being, being very reliant on caffeine itself, it might actually draw some setbacks because you're actually suppressing fatigue. But at the end of the day, when the caffeine is gone out of your system, you will actually fall into this pit whereby you really do not want to actually have it to happen. So just know that caffeine actually can interact, or rather there is a relation with fatigue itself, and it interferes with a lot of like your sleep patterns, which you might want to watch out, especially if you cannot sleep at night. Dehydration. So I'm not sure if you heard about like macronutrients, this term. So macro means big. Nutrients, I'm sure, nutrients, nutrition, nutrients. So there are three main macronutrients: carbohydrates, protein, and fats. So the fourth one that I would actually would like to emphasize, or rather I would name it as a macronutrient, is water. Why? Because 70% of our body is made up of water. And we need water to transport the different nutrients in our body to the bloodstream in order for our body to function. And one of the things is that dehydration is a very common thing among us, especially when you are really busy, especially when you're working from home. You'll realize that, I forgot to drink my water today. So that itself, right, it will actually lead into a very, very chronic phase. And you will realize that, I'm thirsty now. But the problem is when you are thirsty, you are already dehydrated. So being thirsty, right, is not an indicator that, I need water now. But rather, if you go to the toilet, you do your small business, and then you see the color of your urine is a pale straw color, then you are right. If it gets darker than that, it means that you are really lacking of water. So what I do is, a practical tip that you can do is actually to set timers or alarms on your phone and say that, it's time to drink water now. So you will not be dehydrated. So it is actually very important that you are hydrated and to prevent fatigue. And next, I'm sure a lot of you are actually very familiar with this, My Healthy Plate. Probably you've seen it from Health Promotion Board. So let me give you an idea like why it's in this plate itself. So I'm not sure if some of you remember like years or maybe more than 10 years or more ago, whereby there is this pyramid, right? There's this food pyramid. But the problem with the pyramid is that, the bottom, there are the grains, and on top there's protein, there's dairy products and all of that. But how much should I eat, by looking at that pyramid? But the plate itself is a very visual thing. It is actually an 11-inch plate. So by looking at the plate itself, I know, how much should I put the different food groups on my plate. So you can see there are 3 different colors here, right? All right, so 3 different colors here. So you can see the top left corner, top left corner, there's the brown rice as well as the whole grain bread. So that is actually the portion whereby you need to actually fill your grains, pasta, or even bread. That is the amount that we should eat for carbohydrates. But usually when you go to like, the coffee shops or the nasi padang store, the Thai peng store, right, you will actually ask for rice. And then how much rice do you get? One whole plate of rice, right? So even when you say, I want little rice, lesser rice, please. But usually it's still more than that. So by looking at this healthy plate, right, you think, am I getting more than what I'm needed? Or am I eating lesser than what I needed? So this is a very good indication. And then the bottom, you can see that there's a blue segment. The blue segment itself, right, you can see that there is a fish, there's tofu there. So it's meat and others. So meat, I'm sure all of you are familiar what is meat. But what are others? Others here, what is it? So they actually, have your vegetarian options, the legumes, beans, nuts and seeds, as well as dairy. And I'm sure some of you will ask, oh, I don't take dairy, what can I have? So we will actually talk about that when we dive into calcium later. And then the remaining part of the plate is of the green part. You can see fruit and vegetables. So half of your plates, right, should be filled with vegetables. I know you might think, hey, why is the fruit on the plate itself? But we will actually talk about that in a while. And look at the bottom, there's choose water, use healthier oils, and be active. So all these, right, they actually comprise of having a balanced diet. So first we'll talk about, filling half of your plate with fruits and vegetables. You'll think, fruits and vegetables are a thing that I don't really like and all that. But the thing is that they are very rich in vitamins and minerals, like iron. Remember we talked about anemia earlier on, whereby we say that your fatigue and anemia might be a condition and all. So anemia is related to the amount of iron that you actually need, and also B group vitamins. B group vitamins here. What is B group vitamins? B group vitamins actually provides you energy as well. They are, I would say, like the nuts and bolts that are there to actually help you release the energy that you need to support your daily physical activities. And also, immune system. A lot of people talk about immune system these days. So fruits and vegetables are the way to go to get all the required nutrients to actually help with your immune system. Also, there is soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. So you think, hey, what is this? These are things, or rather nutrients that they stay in your body for a long period of time. And then you will not feel hungry very quickly, and then they'll be digested very, very slowly so that you will not overeat. As well, it actually helps with lowering of cholesterol levels. And also definitely, bowel movement. So eat your fruits and vegetables. So eat the rainbow. So the reason why you have to eat different types of colors is that different color, right, has a different antioxidant. For example, if I have green grapes during lunch, so I'm getting the antioxidant from the green pigment. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe this lunchtime, right, I'm eating everything is green. So maybe in the evening, what I can have purple grapes. So that's the difference. So the purple grapes has a different type of color pigment and then a different type of antioxidant. So, and if you realize, right, if you go out to the markets, what is the most common color that you will see in the markets for vegetables? It would be green, right? It will be green, right? Yeah, so I'm very sure that a lot of people will say, hey, it's green. So that is one of the things that you might want to, think about. So having a lot of green vegetables out there and not having a lot of the other colored vegetables, right? You might want to incorporate as well a fruit. Fruits are easier to find with different colors. Apples, bananas, and like we were talking about even grapes as well. They are different colors. So try to mix and match. Have a rainbow of colors. A quarter with whole grains. What is whole grain? I just know white rice. I don't know anything else, right? So you look at this picture itself, this diagram itself. So this is actually a whole grain. How it is supposed to look like. So okay, let me explain. So the outer covering is called a bran. The inner part, the yellowish portion, is called an endosperm. And then the bottom area, there is that round thing, right? At the bottom is called a germ. So white rice, right? Maybe you want to have a guess which portion of the whole grain itself we are eating. Maybe you want to think in your mind now, like which portion do you think I am eating every single day when I go for my nasi padang? Okay, so let me tell you, it is actually the endosperm. So whatever that is removed, right, is actually the bran and the germ. And that's how we talk about fiber, right? So fiber is actually contained in the bran itself. So you're removing it already. And then the germ itself, right? You'll be surprised there are good fats as well and B vitamins. Good fats like omega-3 that helps heart health. And also the B vitamins that helps to provide the energy. It's also removed. So whatever that we are consuming here is only the endosperm, which can only provide you with the carbohydrates for the energy production. That's why if you keep hearing like maybe on media or anywhere, have whole grains, have whole grains, have whole grains. Why? Because all these other things are being removed. Yeah, so you have them. And we talk about, fiber whereby it slows the digestion itself. Everything stays longer in your body. So with that bran itself outside covering it, you will actually digest it slower. You'll feel fuller for a longer period of time. And then you have your fiber as well as the other nutrients that we need in our body. That's why it's good to have whole grains. All right, so maybe let me introduce some of the sources there. So brown rice, bihun. I'm sure now if you go to like supermarkets out there, there are so many different bihun that are whole grains. So you just need to read the food labels. Make sure that it is a whole grain bihun. Wholemeal bread, rolled oats, pasta, and noodles. Okay, so a lot of people will tell me, hey, but whole grains, I cannot bite. My teeth, cannot. Yeah, so the thing is that, you can actually start small. Start maybe this week, right? I add out of my whole pot of white rice, right? Maybe I add 10% of whole grains first. Add in, you chew, you bite, you think, hey, is this texture okay for me? Can I accept it? If I can accept it, or maybe you can try another 2 weeks with that amount. And then slowly, right, you add in more whole grains until, right, even your whole family could actually accept that taste, that texture. But if let's say until a point where I think, no, this is too hard for me, this is too tough for me to eat, it's okay, stop there or reduce a bit. At least there is some parts of the carbohydrates that you are having contains whole grains rather than there isn't. So the key here is sustainability. I can start whole grains today. I can start having my brown bread, my brown pasta today, right? Tomorrow I say, hey, all these things I cannot eat. I don't see myself eating this like for the rest of the month. Then there's no point, right? So start slow. Make sure that it is sustainable. So that is the keyword here. So there are also other ways to actually enjoy grains in your diet, like cereals, pastries, sandwiches, rice substitutes. There are a lot of options now out there, thankfully. And so you can actually, explore. It doesn't have to be rice. It can be pasta or even bread or even biscuits out there, or even have your pastries. This is a good way to actually even get your whole grains. And then you can see like there's a very big word down there, right? A low glycemic index. I'm not sure a lot of you know about this. What does it mean? It means that the blood does not spike. So having whole grains, because remember we have that barrier outside, that bran outside, it slows down digestion. So because it slows down digestion, right, the endosperm inside, it will actually slowly break down over a period of time rather than everything is being released into our blood and then we have a spike in our blood sugar. That's why it is good to actually have whole grains. And gradual breakdown of sugar for energy and avoid food coma, especially, during lunchtime. I'm sure you eat because you're hungry. And then after that, you must get into meetings, Zoom meetings, whatever meetings you have out there. And then you will fall into a food coma, right? So why not try to change to some whole grains and help you? You feel fuller for a longer period of time. And I would like to share one experience that I have in South Korea. So I was working as a school dietitian. So in South Korea, whereby the kids, right, they go to school. It's not like in Singapore, whereby you have vendors. Today I want Japanese, today I want Western or that kind of thing. They do not get to choose. They have to eat whatever that was being prepared. So I also understand like the kids there, they do not really want to have whole grains as well. So what I do is for kids, I have white rice, but I add in stuff like barley. Barley is a whole grain as well. I add in stuff like red beans. Red beans are sweet, right? But it is also a whole grain as well. So all these things, right, you add in, it helps to slow down the digestion and also does not spike the blood sugar. So these are some of the tricks that you can do if, let's say, your kids at home do not, they do not do well with whole grains. So let's, look at all these things here. So what or which are whole grain products? Wow, there are so many things out there. Oh, and some of the stuff are actually, very tempting. So maybe you want to guess what are the whole grain products. Maybe you can type into the chat, or you can, figure it out. Have you been eating the things that you think are whole grain products? Oh, look at that. Okay, there are about 6 of them, if I'm not wrong. All right, so I'm going to slowly show you one by one, see whether you have guessed it right or not. Okay, this is quite straightforward, right? Because brown rice, jasmine brown rice. So this is actually a whole grain product. And then these days, if you go to like the supermarkets, you can see there are red rice, there are different colors of rice, right? They are whole grain rice, but of a different color, different species. So it's okay. So that is jasmine brown rice, which is a whole grain product. Second one, wholemeal fusilli. You can look at that, the color of it. The color is slightly brownish, right? Rather than the normal fusilli or pasta that you have in restaurants. So if you look at pasta that is slightly brown in color, it's because of the color of the brand. That's how we were talking about. So this is actually wholemeal. Third one, brown rice bee hoon. Like what I've said just now, that there are more and more of this brown rice bee hoon available in the supermarkets. You can check them out. Oatmeal. Oatmeal, some of the people ask, what kind of oatmeal? There's so many oatmeal out there. There's flat ones, there's broad ones, there's so many types. It doesn't matter. Whatever type of oatmeal, right, it is still a whole grain. Yeah, so oatmeal is actually a whole grain. Chapati. Yeah, chapati, it is actually made out of whole grain flour. And you can actually, as Singaporeans, we love the cuisines at like prata, naan, and all that. So chapati could be something that you can explore as well as an alternative. Like you don't have to order 2 pieces of roti prata. Maybe you can order 1 piece of chapati, at least include, some of these whole grains into your diet. Corn. So I'm not sure if you know that in some parts of the world, corn is actually the staple food, like how rice is in Asia itself. So corn, how, like the corn is being grown out, but we just remove all these kernels out, right? You don't do anything to them. So they are actually whole grains. So corn is actually a very, very good source of whole grain. A lot of people, they misunderstood it as a part of vegetables. But no, corn is starchy. It should be part of this whole grain section instead of being a vegetable. So always remember that it's starchy. Okay, so this can be a way to actually consume and get your carbohydrates or energy from. All right, so some tips as well. That's how I mentioned a lot already. You can mix brown rice and mix barley, add different types of grains. Or if, let's say, you think chewing is difficult, you can add them into soups or stews, fruits and vegetables. You can actually, add vegetables to meat dishes. If you really don't like vegetables, right, what you can do, right, is that you can actually grind them as fine as possible so that you don't really have to taste the vegetable itself. What I do when it was back in South Korea is that I hide vegetables. I grind them into powder form whereby they cannot really see. I hide them into meat patties. And then they have burgers. They only see the brown. They don't see the green inside. So they will still have them because it's covered with other flavors. So try to flavor your foods to cover the vegetable smell if, let's say, you don't like it. Of course, the best way would be trying to, accept the taste, but it will take a long period of time. So the keyword is sustainability that we talked about just now. Flavor vegetables with herbs and spices, of course, slowly and if you can. Okay, then we talk about protein and calcium-rich foods in the healthy plate itself, it says meat and others. Here, I list it as protein and calcium-rich foods because we are going to focus a bit on calcium later. So includes poultry, your chicken, your duck, meats, seafood, eggs, nuts, beans, as well as low-fat dairy products. So it is good to actually aim for 2 servings of fish per week. It doesn't have to be, I have to go to the market and buy the whole fish, or has to be fresh. It's okay. You can get the canned tunas as well, but just make sure that they are low in sodium. Look out for there's this triangle symbol there, lower in sodium. Look for that, and then you should be fine. So these fishes are good as well because they, especially oily fishes, they can actually contain omega-3 fatty acids, which is a good fat, a very, very good fat that actually helps with overall heart health, even mental health as well. So it is something that we really lack in our diet these days because from what we have outside or even you buy at home, you realize that a lot of foods, right, they are actually rather low or weak in omega-3 fats. But then sometimes you hear, oh, there's this other omega-6 fat. So be careful of that because omega-6, right, we are having abundance of it. Right? So we are trying to balance the 3 and the 6. And we are having very low on the 3 itself. So we try to actually push this up. So let's say if you see like supplements out there, you say, oh, I don't eat fishes. I only take supplements. It's okay if let's say you do so, but just make sure that the supplements that you take, right, is omega-3, not 369 or 36, because you don't need any more of that 6. You have it from your oil, cooking oils and the different foods out there. So that is a tip for you. And of course, choose the lean meats. Why? Because the lean meats, right, they actually have lower in the bad fat or known as saturated fat, which are the fat that you really want to reduce and not have them. So such foods are like meat, fish, chicken, eggs, tofu, lentils. Yeah, they not only provide protein, they provide different types of nutrients as well, vitamins and minerals. So you would actually want to take in more of these products and also opt for higher quality protein. Why do I say so? If let's say if you are a vegetarian or vegan, yes, it's okay to get your protein from maybe tofu, beans and lentils, seeds and nuts. They are okay, they are fine, but you must know how to actually mix and match them. Why? Because the beans and seeds, right, they are not known as complete protein. Our body, right, needs actually 8 different types of essential these things, tiny blocks of protein that makes up protein called amino acids. So these essential amino acids, we have to take them from food. Yeah, but the problem is that vegetable sources, they do not have all these complete amounts or types of amino acids that we need. Unlike meat sources, your fish, your chicken, all these, they are complete. So if you are a vegan or vegetarian, you might want to put in more effort to actually mix and match different colors, different types of vegetable protein to make sure that you get all the different types of protein. All right, quiz time. Right, so in case some of you are dozing off or trying to get in touch with us here. So all right, so this is a true and false question. Okay, so take some time to think about it and then think whether this is true or false. In order to recover or prevent fatigue, I just have to take superfoods or multivitamins. What is superfoods? I did not mention what is superfoods, right? Or do you know what is superfoods? All right, multivitamins. Should I have multivitamins or should I, just have like have whole foods itself? What should I have? Right? And see the polls all coming in. Ooh, a lot of people is leaning towards one answer. Okay, all right. Nice. All right, okay. I will actually, talk about it now. Right, so most of you say it is false. So the answer is false. Yeah. Because why? Because superfoods itself. Okay, let's talk about superfoods. Superfoods, there you think that there are some advertisements out there that say, oh, have more blueberries, only have blueberries, or lemon, take that lemon water every day. So the problem is that lemon itself or that blueberries, yes, they are nutritious, they have the nutrients, maybe they are good, they are good in antioxidants and all. But the problem is they cannot give you the complete or the balanced nutrition that we need. Remember at the start we talked about balanced meal, the healthy plate itself. So that healthy plate itself consists of the different food groups that provide you with that balanced nutrition, the optimum nutrition that you need to help you prevent fatigue. Multivitamins, the problem with that, right, is that you would not know how much you actually need for the supplements itself. So it's best to actually avoid multivitamins, but then try to take more whole foods instead. Osteoporosis. Okay, this is something that you keep hearing about, but say, oh, I'm very young, I shouldn't be worried about osteoporosis. But it is actually a silent disease. It's a condition, whereby the density, the quality of your bones are reduced. So sometimes you realize that that older folks, they fall. After they fall, they never really got back or get better, right? So because even this fracture there that happens, right? It actually there isn't much of a help that you can do, because why? It's because that there are no signs, early stages of osteoporosis, and usually identify only when one of your bones actually suffer a fracture or break. Yeah, so it is actually important to know when you are younger, when should I be having more calcium or more different the nutrients that we need. So the calcium bank itself, you will realize that by looking at this graph, right, in our 30s, it is actually the peak. So from there, right, everything goes downwards. So if I'm in my 20s now, right, I should be very actively, getting more calcium, so that I make sure that I do not, I will have sufficient before I, go down in my late 50s or 60s or 70s. Yeah, so this is the healthy plate again. So just now we were talking about calcium, right? So meat and others. Yeah, so we want to focus on that now, the blue portion. So we are focusing on the others. Quarter with protein and calcium-rich foods. Calcium. So calcium, a lot of you probably should know, build and maintains bones, help muscles and even your nerves work properly. So sometimes you feel like, oh, your muscles are there are cramps and all that. Probably it might be an issue with the lack of the calcium that is there. It helps with blood clot as well as other bodily activities that actually happen in us. So sources would be dairy, tofu, other bean products. They are actually very rich in calcium and also provide you with the protein that you need. All right, so this will be a more pictorial kind of thing for you to know. So having one more calcium-rich food a day will be good. So soybean milk. If let's say you cannot take dairy, you can have soybean milk, but just make sure that it is lower in sugar and higher in calcium. So this is what you want to have. Okay, and then tau kwa as well. Make sure that it's higher in calcium, and low sodium sardines from cans itself. So look out for these healthier choice symbols when you shop. They are very good indicators to show whether it is actually a good source or not. Also, low-fat, high-calcium milk, cheese, as well as low-fat yogurt. Just look out for the healthier choice symbol to make sure they are low-fat, low sodium, high calcium. Next quiz. I do not need to worry about bone health as I am in my early adulthood, 20s to 30s. Is that right or wrong? So we just mentioned about this earlier. I do not need to worry. It's okay. After that, when I'm older, right, then I just worry then. I'll just have my calcium supplements then. All right, I can see that actually a lot of you say that it is false. And that is actually right. Yeah, so please make sure that, if you're in 20s or even have kids as well, try to make sure that you get more of these calcium-rich products in the foods that you have, okay? All right, so just some statistics to show you. Vitamin D, something that we don't really hear about. Vitamin D, 40% of Singaporeans is deficient in vitamin D based on about 10 years ago, but now look at that, 32.9% prevalence of vitamin D deficiency. Why? Because where does vitamin D comes from naturally? The sun, yes, the sun, correct. So the thing about that is that a lot of us, we work from home, we rarely go out. Even if we go out, what do? We use sunblock, sunscreen, and hats, and we cover up. So we cannot really get vitamin D from there. So vitamin D, right, helps with calcium absorption. So no matter how much calcium you have, you need that vitamin D to help the absorption. If not, it will not be absorbed into your body. So it plays a very important role there for bone muscle and heart health. Vitamin D can be found in eggs, liver, oily fish, as well as many fortified products out there. So important is you look at the food label out there in the supermarkets to see whether it is vitamin D fortified or vitamin D enriched. So this is something that you can look out for. All right. So concerns, this is the most important slide here, everyone. This is the most important slide here. Work from home arrangements, little or no exposure to light. So this is something that we must be very concerned because this is what is happening now. And also sun protective behaviors, use of sunscreen, stay in shades indoors, wear long sleeves, carry umbrellas are very common practices in Singapore, definitely, because of the strong sun and out there. But maybe you have concerns about skin cancer and UV rays and all that. But what you can do, right? So you can actually get vitamin D from foods as well. But it will still be good, to even take that 10 minutes walk out to get that sun, the natural vitamin D3. And also, especially people who work in night shifts, probably you want to make sure that you have a higher intake of vitamin D from foods. Take a walk, 15 to 20 minutes walk outdoors daily. And also watch out, smoking. Smoking, if you don't smoke, don't start. Caffeine intake. So if you're having a lot of caffeine already every day, try to actually reduce them because you actually get calcium out of your system every time you drink a lot. Also, I'm sure a lot of you would actually know alcohol as something that we want to limit. And on top of that, right, research shows that it helps, not helps, but it even decreases bone formation as well as the ability to absorb calcium. Last quiz. Okay, so it's all right to have my morning and afternoon coffee. Then reward myself to bubble tea, less sugar after work regularly. True or false? This question here, it might offend some of you, especially those who like bubble tea. But just have that in mind. This question here is to say that, I have a lot of coffee already, but having bubble tea might not increase my caffeine intake. So this question is the aim is this. All right, so 100% false. Okay, so the thing is that, yes, bubble tea actually, because it's tea, so it actually contributes to caffeine, especially for kids these days. If you realize, primary school kids as well, secondary school kids as well, they have a lot of bubble tea after school and all. So that is something that you want to be concerned about. Should my kid be having bubble tea like with the caffeine there for, when he or she is just primary school kid? Something to think about. Do not limit, but just, you just know what is happening at home and then try to try to understand how much should I have and not. So that is the important part. And also, last but not least, exercise. So we talk about nutrition already. Exercise, right? Health Promotion Board actually recommends 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, as well as, this is per week, as well as engage in strength activities twice a week. Okay, twice a week. So it is good to actually have both of them. Why? The strength activities will help you increase your bone density. And then the moderate intensity exercises would actually help, with your heart. Yeah. So a lot of people, you can see the numbers are not looking very good. 19.9%, 40.2% do not participate in leisure time physical activity. So these are how we are looking now in Singapore. So we should try to actually increase our physical activity. This is a chart. I would not actually go deep into this, but you can actually look online on Health Hub. Health Hub has this chart itself to show like what are the different types of activities that you can do physically. So this will actually help you. And right, we go into the Q&A questions. So let's see what are some of the questions that we can have. We do not have a lot of time, so we will pick up a couple of questions to talk about. Okay, number one, is it recommended to eat supplements as a substitute, complement for missing fruits, vegetables from daily diet? My answer is, if you are not able to have them because of a certain reason, number one, pricing, number two, the availability really limits you. Yes, have supplements, but if possible, have whole foods. Why? Because supplements only can give you whatever that you need. Vitamin D, you only have vitamin D. Omega-3, you only have omega-3. So instead, you eat the whole fish, you have protein, you have omega-3 and all the different good stuff that is in there. Number two, what is the difference between wholemeal, whole wheat, and whole grain? They are all the same. So yeah, so just look out for them. They are all the same, interchangeable. What is the difference between unpolished rice and brown rice? They are the same as well. So these are all whole grains. There are a lot of different words that they use out there, but just know that these are the same. And third question, if you fry vegetables or use them in soup, would heat destroy all the vitamins in them? Yes and no. There are heat-sensitive vitamins out there, but there are more stable vitamins out there as well. Vegetables, the best is blanch them, or if you can, have them raw. If you have them raw, right, you can make sure that all the essential vitamins are there. Yeah, so it will be good. But then if you really have to cook them, just make sure it's a very short time and the temperature is not high. Examples of B group vitamins. B group vitamins are meats, eggs, even nuts and seeds. They are very good examples of B group vitamins. Usually you will not miss them, B group vitamins, so you are quite safe. As long as you have your protein, most probably you will have the B group vitamins that are with them. All right, we have a last question here. Which is a better calcium supplement? Calcium fortified or enriched? And what amount should be consumed after 50 years old? And does it differ for men and women? So this is a very high level question here. So which is a better calcium supplement? Fortified, enriched. First, you need to understand what is fortified. Second, you need to understand what is enriched. So instead of confusing yourself, like what is there already and add on and what is not there, it would be actually good to read the label. Every time read the label, you are in doubt, read the label, what it contains, the nutrition label. You will actually find out like, is that the amount that I need? And what amount should be consumed after 50 years of age? Does it differ for men and women? Yes, it does. But first, it will be good to actually seek medical advice if you are above, you are in a generation whereby, the bone mass is declining and all that, to understand, what are the concerns are there before getting to know like how much should be consumed. I think it will be better this way. And I think I will actually wrap it up here because we have running out of time. And I hope that, through today's talk itself, you do not keep this to yourself, but share with your family members, your loved ones, so that you can empower them. Right? Thank you very much for your time today.